Settle Down Podcast.
You are listening to
the Settle Down Podcast
with your host, Sean Settles.
And so flying for the movie was totally different from that. And it was just kind of interesting to fly around next to a Learjet and that had the cameras in it and all this other stuff. But I didn't give any thought to this movie being anything. And as evidence of that, we hung out with the actors one afternoon. They said, "Hey, the actors want to get a sense of you guys, so go meet them at this local bar in San Diego and just hang out and tell stories with them." And so we did that. And then I went up to Paramount with a pilot for 2 days, and we helped them to cut the flying scenes together because they weren't sure how the different film segments put together. They didn't know what to say, what the guys would say when they were flying. So I did those things. I didn't take a single photo of me, hey, here's me and Tom Cruise, here's me and Anthony Edwards, here's me at Paramount Studios. Nothing. So I'm going like, oh, well.
How was it like working with the actors? Was there any kind of Hollywood actor egos going on, or were they just pretty normal guys when it came to hanging out with you guys?
Well, I wish I had something scandalous or whatever to tell you, but my recollection was that they were all pretty normal. And part of that might have been the age thing. Tom Cruise, I remember, turned 23 when they were filming the movie. And when they filmed the movie, I was 26, I turned 27. So he's a few years younger than me, but really not a lot younger. So the actors were a little bit younger than us as instructors. And most of them were just getting started. So they didn't really have, a lot of ego, big egos yet.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of a lot of their first or second movie. So none of them were superstars at the time.
Yeah. And then I remember I briefly talked to Michael Ironsides, who played, he played Jester?
Yes, Jester.
Yeah, Jester. And I talked to him, and I just said hi, and he just goes, hi, whatever.
So you said you flew in one of the fake MiGs for the movie that they painted black. Did any of the scenes that you were in appear on camera, or?
Well, that's a good question, because when I was flying out to film, all of the guys who were Top Gun instructors flew in the jets. There was enough filming that everybody got to fly, and the backseaters, we took turns flying there was one of the MiGs was a 2-seater, and so the Top Gun instructor Rios took turns flying in that back seat. And then the pilots, they flew in, the A4 Skyhawks and the other MiGs, and the front of the 2-seater. So I go, well, when I go out there, I want to make sure that I can see, I can tell that it's myself. So I rolled up my sleeves. We all had to wear black helmets and black flight suits. And when they told us in the briefing, they go, okay, you got to have your oxygen mask on and your visor down. And so everybody had to be anonymous. And the reason was that they wanted to be able to, if they shot something on Monday afternoon and they shot something else on Tuesday morning, they wanted to be able to cut that together. So when I was going out there to film, I rolled up my sleeves on my flight suit. So I go, I'm going to be able to point to myself and say, that's me. So as we're flying out there, somebody in the Learjet noticed that, and they said, hey, Rio, in the back seat of the 2-seater, put your sleeves down. And I go like, okay. But there is a scene. There's one scene where they've got 4 of the MiGs together, and you could see a flash from the back seat, and it's like maybe it's a reflection from my camera lens, because I did take a few pictures back then. And then also, I think it was me in the back seat of the where they're communicating,
Recorded scene.
Yeah. I filmed that. Another Rio filmed it, but I think it was me. So
in F-14, what happens when you hit the brakes? I know that's a pretty famous scene in the movie. Does it really work like it does in the movie? Or
Oh yeah. The reason they put that in there is that the two lead advisors, one was a Top Gun instructor, his name was Rat Willard, and the other was F-14 pilot, who was the lead F-14 advisor, and he's Bozo, Abel. They were up in Nevada where they filmed a lot of those overland scenes. And they were up there for, I think, 2 weeks. I mean, I did not go on that trip. I would have to look it up. And the majority of the scenes were planned by the script, and then the director, Tony Scott, he sketched out what he wanted to see the airplanes do. And so Rat and Bozo were saying, well, we need to come up with some cool maneuver that shows that Maverick is really a skilled pilot. So they talked about what the F-14 could do, and they talked about what the camera could film. And they came up with this thing called a pitch pulse. Whereas if the F-14 pilot snaps back on the stick, the plane's going to squirt up like that, really slow down, and the plane behind it, if he's not on his game, he's going to shoot out in front. Okay? And so they actually did that. I mean, of course, they coordinated it with the guy following them. They actually did that, and it looks pretty dramatic. But there's a couple of problems with doing that in real life. One is when the F-14 does that, it's going to lose a lot of airspeed and going to be kind of slow. And so, it better get that kill, because otherwise he's going to be defensive quickly. And that's the main problem. So, you give up everything for that one shot. The other thing, I guess, is if you do it too soon and the guy's too far behind you, he can either, do a displacement maneuver, displacement roll, or he can unload and change and wait for you to get done with your little game and come around and shoot you down. So it's very, it looks good on film. That was a real move, though.
How often did the actual actors get to go up in the planes?
Oh, they most of them, I believe, went up one time, and I think Tom Cruise went up 3 times. And we we talked about that a little bit back at Miramar when it was happening. And once again, it's not like we sat there and followed this closely. It's like, because we were Top Gun instructors having a class during the day. I mean, we were busy and we loved our jobs, But, we threw little notes. We discussed notes about it, But when I went up to Paramount, they showed us the footage, because when they took the actors up in the F-14, they had a movie camera up on top where the radar screen scope normally was in the back. And they filmed the actors, and they were trying to use that in the movie. And so when I was up at Paramount for 2 days, we went over to the Paramount Theater, which was a beautiful theater, and they showed that film, and it was hilarious because the actors all got sick, except Goose, I think, was the only one who didn't get sick. And the plan was that they were going to film them in a dogfight, and they'd be looking around, and there were other planes swirling around behind them. But the guys, they would say, they would tell them, okay, turn on the camera, or the pilot turned on the camera. Pilots turn on the camera. Now, act like you're looking around. And they turn their heads, and then they go like, oh. And the thing is, if you're and you learn this as a Rio, if you're maneuvering, when you turn your head, that will make you dizzy if you're not used to it. Once you're a Rio or a pilot and you've been doing this for a few times, you get used to it. You can do anything. But if you're brand new, turning your head is the worst thing to do. It'll make you sick.
What were your experiences when?
Thank you for watching this video brought to you by the Settle Down Podcast. Click this button over here to watch one of our other fabulous videos, click this one over here to subscribe. It really helps us out. Thanks for watching.